You walk into work on Monday morning. Your boss calls everyone into a meeting. He says, "We're letting 200 employees go." Everyone panics. Sales must be down. The company must be losing money. But then he says something unexpected. "We're actually making more money than ever." So why fire hundreds of workers? It's not a recession, it's not outsourcing, and it's not because those employees were bad at their jobs. It's because the company found someone who works 24 hours a day, never asks for a raise, never gets tired, and costs a fraction of a human employee. Artificial intelligence. But here's the strange part. If AI can do millions of jobs, why isn't unemployment exploding already? And if AI really replaces everyone, who's left to buy the products companies are selling? That question reveals something almost nobody talks about. The biggest economic challenge of AI isn't replacing jobs. It's what happens after they're gone. Why companies are actually doing this. Every major invention in history has replaced workers. Steam engines replaced manual labor. Factories replaced craftsmen. Computers replaced office workers. So is AI just another one of those? Or is this time different? To answer that, we need a simpler question first. Why do companies replace humans at all? Imagine you own a business. You hire an employee for $50,000 a year. Sounds simple, but that's not what they actually cost you. Add benefits, insurance, office space, equipment, training, payroll taxes. That $50,000 employee can easily cost the business $70,000 or more a year. Now compare that to AI. You're not paying for a person's time. You're paying for software that works all day, never gets sick, and can help thousands of customers at once. From a company's perspective, the math is hard to ignore. But here's where most people get it wrong. Companies aren't replacing workers because AI is perfect. They're replacing workers because AI doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be cheap enough, often enough. This has happened before. A century ago, tractors replaced millions of farm laborers, but new industries grew in their place. Decades later, computers replaced office tasks and created entirely new careers no one had heard of before. So is AI just repeating that pattern? Here's the difference. Tractors replaced muscle. Computers replaced repetition. AI is starting to replace thinking, writing, design, code, customer support, research, even parts of medicine and law. And here's the number that got economists' attention. According to McKinsey Global Institute, as of late 2025, an estimated 57% of US work hours are technically automatable with current technology. Most of that through AI agents rather than physical robots. That's not a jobs forecast. It's a measure of what's possible right now. What actually happens next depends on cost, regulation, and how fast businesses adopt it. Which brings up the real question people keep asking wrong. Will AI replace my job? The better question, which parts of my job can AI already do faster or cheaper? Because almost no job is one task. A teacher doesn't just teach. A doctor doesn't just diagnose. AI doesn't need to replace an entire job to completely change how it works. So which jobs are really in danger? Economists don't usually ask which professions will disappear. They ask, which individual tasks create the least value per hour of human time and can be automated for less? Take customer support. The job isn't just answering questions, it's calming angry customers, solving unusual problems, building trust, but a huge share of the day is the same three questions on repeat. Where's my order? How do I reset my password? Can I get a refund? That repetitive layer is exactly what AI eats first. The human stays. The job shrinks around them. Same story with software developers. AI can generate code in seconds, but developers still have to understand what the client actually needs, catch hidden bugs, and make the calls AI can't be trusted with. The routine work shrinks. The judgment work is what's left. This is showing up in real numbers already. Stanford's 2026 AI Index found something striking. Employment for software developers aged 22 to 25 has dropped nearly 20% since 2024. while employment for developers 30 and older kept growing. AI isn't wiping out the profession. It's pulling up the entry level ladder first because junior level work is the most repetitive, most automatable layer of the job. The pattern holds everywhere. The more a job depends on judgment, negotiation, or taking responsibility for an outcome, the harder it is to automate. The more a job is repeating a fixed process, the easier it is. And this is quietly reshaping wages too. Say a graphic designer used to finish 5 projects a week. With AI tools, they can now finish 15. Great for the business. They get more output from the same headcount. But it also means they don't need to hire as many new designers. Jobs don't vanish overnight. Demand for new hires just quietly dries up. That's already visible at the top. Goldman Sachs estimated in April 2026 that AI is eliminating around 16,000 net US jobs a month, a little over 190,000 a year. That sounds alarming until you compare it to the World Economic Forum's global projection: 92 million roles displaced by 2030, but 170 million new ones created, a net gain of 78 million jobs worldwide. Same technology, two very different sounding numbers, both true. The catch: the jobs being lost skew toward clerical and entry level work. The jobs being created skew toward technical roles that need retraining to reach. That mismatch, not the raw job count, is the actual problem, which raises the bigger question economists keep coming back to. If AI really does replace a meaningful chunk of workers, who's left to buy what businesses are selling? It sounds plausible. AI gets faster, cheaper, and more capable every year. But there's one problem every doom prediction skips over. If a company replaces most of its workers, profits go up and costs go down, great for that one company. But scale that across the whole economy and you have a problem. Those laid off workers were also customers. Less income means less spending. Less spending means businesses sell less, which means less profit for everyone, including the companies that automated in the first place. Economists have understood this for centuries. An economy doesn't run because companies produce things. It runs because people can afford to buy them. Workers aren't just labor, they're demand. That's why most economists don't expect a future where humans simply become unnecessary. They expect the pattern we've already seen twice. Jobs disappear, new ones appear, existing ones evolve. When cars replaced horses, stable hands lost their jobs. But car factories, mechanics, insurance, and tourism created millions of new ones. When computers arrived, office jobs disappeared, and software, cybersecurity, and digital marketing took their place. Here's why this transition might still be rougher than the last two. Previous machines mostly replaced muscle. AI is replacing parts of thinking, and thinking-based jobs are harder to retrain into quickly. That's the mismatch behind the WEF's numbers above. 92 million jobs lost, 170 million gained, but not to the same people, and not without serious retraining. No one knows the exact final numbers, but one thing is close to certain. The people who learn to direct AI, not compete with it, are going to have a real advantage over people who ignore it. Because in every one of these transitions, the actual risk was never the technology. It was refusing to adapt to it. So, will AI take your job? Maybe, maybe not. That's the wrong question. The better one: can someone who knows how to use AI do your job better than someone who doesn't? Because in customer support, coding, design, and law, that's already happening. Every major shift, the Industrial Revolution, electricity, the internet, smartphones, rewarded the people who adapted first. AI is just the next one. No one can stop that. But everyone gets to choose whether they move with it or get left behind by it. If the idea of AI destroying jobs but the economy still needing spenders made you think differently, the same logic sits underneath how money itself works. Check out my video on how banks create money out of thin air. Because understanding money is the other half of understanding what happens when the way we earn it changes. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.